Welcome back to my High Plains life. I'm Danielle, your host, and it is January 14th, 2019. I have a lot to show you. Not much knitting, but a lot of sewing. What is on my needles? I have no FOs to show. Not a big surprise. I have pretty much similar whips in progress that I had last time. I have my Christmas stripy socks using, oh, look at my new project bag. I'll talk about this later. This is precious Jinx yarns in the Naughty or Nice colorway. Oh, Jinx yarns. A Naughty or Nice. I'm sorry, I am horrible at working backwards. Colorway. Jinx yarns is no longer dying due to health concerns, so totally understand, but really sad because I love her self-striping. And this is the last I have of it. Of course, I'm mid-row. So I've been doing these two at a time. I do have a lot. Look, this is where I was last time when I talked to you before Christmas. So I have done inches and inches and inches since then. I'm putting in after that heels, so I just kept knitting straight up. I did begin, you can actually kind of tell that's kind of not very smooth, but once you put them on, you won't be able to tell. I have done some increases for calf shaping because fat lady calves. Love these. As you can see, I still have a lot of yarn. I'm just going to go up. I'm going to have myself some knee highs. So I thought of stopping and using this to make a pair of shorties from somebody else, or I don't know, me. But it's my last Jinx self-striping, and I'm going to be selfish and I want it all, so I'm going to keep going up until I run out of yarn. Maybe. Or it becomes insane. Obviously didn't finish these in time for this Christmas. And that's okay. I am thoroughly enjoying working on them, so they shall continue. These are actually the only socks I have on the needles right now. Only pair of socks. I know, right? What's wrong? I mentioned last time that I was feeling overwhelmed a bit by the number of whips that I had, and that's still true to an extent, but I am also beginning to feel that cast on itch. So I think another pair of socks, and when I talk about what I'm stocking, yeah, we'll get to that. Additionally, I have my etched Rio wrap that I'm knitting for my mother. Did I finish it by Christmas? No. Obviously, she does not have it yet. I am not going to unroll this because it took a while to roll it up. We all know how much stockinette curls in on itself. So something that was this wide ended up being like this wide. And it didn't look like me. So it's easier also to just have it rolled up as I work on it, because when I flip it back and forth to knit it flat, it's less bulk to flip around also. So my etched Rio wrap out of Plymouth Yarn Estilo. This is my last skein, so it's my third skein. I'm about a third of the way through. And yeah, third of the way through. I'm loving I loved the knit the first time. I'm loving it this time. Still don't have the pattern memorized, so I still have to look at it, and that's okay. I've got it on my phone. But it's about 56 inches, 58 inches right now, and I need it to be 64, I think. All I remember is it has to be taller than me. That's right. And I'm 61 3/4 of an inch. 62 to the rest of the world. Sorry, guys. And yeah, so it has to be taller than me. Last time I checked, it wasn't quite there yet. So my mom did not get it for Christmas. Sorry, Mom. But I am still working on it. It will be finished. I only have a couple more inches to go. And then I fold it in half, seam it up, and block this baby out. And yes, I will mail it to you, Mom. Don't worry, it'll get there. And so that's another, like stockinette, slight detail project I've got going on. So I've got a lot of simple projects right now, and that's okay, but I'm kind of feeling the itch for something a little more. I do have a cabled shawl in progress that I need to get back to, but that really requires attention. Like no watching TV, no anything while I'm working on it. So that's not really what I'm filling into right now. I still have my Stephen West MCal texture time on the needles. Still on clue 3, haven't touched it like a month. I will finish it, but again, it's not really what I'm itching to do right now. I do feel like picking up my Runa cardigan and finishing that. I'm on the hood. So close, people. And it's mid-January already. If I don't get it finished soon, I'm not going to have a chance to wear it this year because it is a pretty heavy cardigan. Seed stitch, yeah, pretty heavy. Have a few things on the needles that I need to get back to, but they're not really satisfying that craving right now that I have for something new. And what I'm itching for is some stranded color work. I have not done Fair before. Color, I've done a tiny bit of Intarsia, and that's it. And I really want to do stranded color work. I've had this on the burner for a while that I wanted to do it. Thinking about a first simple project to do, I think, why not a hat? A lot of people recommend doing a hat as your first stranded colorwork project, and I'm like, okay. So of course I did the Ravelry pattern search, and so many. I even narrowed it down by free patterns, simple beginning patterns, and there was still like 30 pages. I know. So I have some possibilities, and I've promised myself that as soon as I finish one more project, I can cast on a hat. So in the meantime, I'm having fun looking to pick the pattern. It's half the fun anyway, right? It's picking the pattern and the yarn. So I have to decide how many colors of the color work that I want in my hat pattern, and high contrast, low contrast. Ooh, see, look, it's already exciting. So fun. So I did cast on one other thing, but that's not really a fun project. It is, hold on, prayer shawl number 4, because I did finish, finally, my last one and turned it in. So now I have prayer shawl number 4 on, not on the needles, on the hook. I'm crocheting this bad boy because knitting a shawl in acrylic for somebody else takes way too long. So this is a size K. JK. Oh, I thought I was using a J. K, bigger is better, right? And Ha! So here is the beginning. Ignore this, I've just kind of wound it in to show me which side was my decrease side. So it's going to be an asymmetrical shawl, increases on one side, decreases on the other. It is called the Tidal Wave Shawl. It's a free pattern by Tamara Kelly on mooglyblog.com. Ravelry. That is what it's going to look like. So I have this unknown green acrylic that's going to be the main color for the body. Ooh, I take it back. The green is not unknown. It is Red Heart Echo Ways, which basically means it's recycled acrylic made in USA of imported fibers. It 70% acrylic, 30% recycled polyester. It's not for me, it's giving it away to somebody who's gonna wash it. So that is what the green is, and then I have the unknown multicolored ball of stripiness. Yeah, so this is going to be the contrast color with it, and I think that'll work fine. So again, I got to cast on something new, but it wasn't really the, for me, fun. Prayer shawl number 4, and I'm so glad I decided to crochet it this time. Not just because it'll go faster, but I forgot how much I enjoy crochet. I think it gets a bad rap from knitters. I mean, let's be honest. It's the, the other needlework project, I guess. I don't know. But I learned how to crochet first and then got into knitting. So I don't have any stigma against crochet, and it does go so much faster. I just generally tend, my preferences, to be crochet for large projects like blankets and, baby blankets and afghans, and knitting for garments and most accessories. Not all, but most. I think you can do a little bit more design elements, I guess, with knitting. But again, I'm not a super advanced crocheter, so what do I know? What am I talking about? I don't know anything. And so that's my last whip I'm working on. I have been stocking the stranded colorwork hats. I've really been enjoying that. But other than that, that is pretty much all I have for under the needles. I do have some lovely acquisitions. I have a project bag that I got for Christmas for my sister-in-law. Be yourself. Isn't that awesome? Like, everybody knows, she's the crazy bee lady. So, and this will make a great, just, probably sock bag. I could probably fit 2 skeins in here, but, I want to cast on another pair of socks anyway. So, probably be for socks. Looking forward to that. And I do have some other, they're not acquisitions, I made them, and I will talk about them in Under the Needle. So, continuing on, I have been doing some spinning. Before the holidays, I finished up with my, this is the best project bag ever. It's called Ziploc. Horrible, Danielle. I had some silk mowatas, or hankies, that I had dyed myself using food coloring, and loved it. I highly recommend, if you are interested in trying your hand at dyeing, start with food coloring. One, because you can still use your own dishes, like versus acid dyes, it's not going to hurt anything. You can do it in the same casserole pan, in the same crock pot that you eat out of, and it's still fine. It's cheaper, and you have a range of colors. It doesn't always work because they break, which means like the colors separate out. But for the most part, simple, easy, beautiful results, especially on silk. I love, it's not really showing up. It's not quite as blue. It has more teal in it than is showing up. I don't know if you can see as it goes around, but it is actually pretty variegated. And it has like a bright teal going into a blue, and I love this. This is not the only silk Mawada I dyed at that same batch in time. I hand dyed 3 or 4 other silk hankies. Love the results with all of them. This was the last one I had, I think, that I hadn't spun up yet. So silk can spin pretty thin. I didn't go too super thin because this is kind of a heavier spindle. My father made this spindle, and I love it. You can kind of see the different wood grains that he made. Love it. But again, it's kind of on the, this is probably a medium to heavy weight spindle. So silk was very strong, but I could only spin it so thin without it breaking. And also I didn't want to make thread. So I have no idea what I'm going to ply this with. It will be plied, maybe with some the other silk that I dyed and do a marled effect. Who knows? Possibilities are endless. But that's all finished. And back into the Ziploc it goes. Along with that, I mentioned last time I'd been spinning some undyed alpaca roving. This is top, alpaca top, from Foxglove Fiber Arts Supply in Bainbridge Island, Washington. There was a total of 15 ounces, and I got this when one of my LYSs went out of business. It was on sale, and it was a very sad day, but good for my stash. So I've been spinning that. I did take the bobbin off the wheel, and you can see it's collapsed because I haven't quite been moving the, I have a lundrum, so it doesn't have hooks. It has a sliding eye, I guess you'd say. And because I haven't been consistent about moving it along, kind of collapsed on itself in places, and that's kind of bad. Yeah, that looks really messy, but it's still all spun, so yay. This is pretty floofy. I've spun 100% alpaca before. Let's see. Wow, that's kind of a mess. Ignore that. So I'm spinning it about that way, thinking I'll have a fingering if I two-ply it. But look how, do you see how it's just kind of floating away on me? I end up getting a lot of debris on my pants, or not debris, but a lot of alpaca fluff on my pants, and I've been wondering if I should not blend the rest of it with something else. I have my blending board, and I have several different colors of merino and other fibers that I purchased with the intent of using with my blending board. And I'm thinking that's what I'll use the rest of this alpaca for. I'll probably spin a little bit more on this bobbin and maybe a second bobbin and ply those together, and I should still have plenty of the top left. But I might not even spin that second bobbin. I might just keep that one bobbin and either ply it back against itself or ply it with a blended fiber single um, for a marled effect, hoping the white, the undyed white, will tone the other single down, depending upon what I do. So I'm just thinking out loud right now, so apologies. If you have any ideas, recommendations, preferences, leave them in the comments, please, or on the Ravelry group board, because I need help. I've got, too many possibilities, and I'm unsure which direction to head. So that is my spinning for under the needle. I have quite a few sewing projects. I found, not that she just started or I just found her or whatever, but Nicole of Hue Loco has been dyeing yarn for about three, maybe 4 years now. And obviously I'd seen her yarn, I've heard of Hue Loco, but I had not been watching her podcast or anything else really other than like seeing her yarn when it came up on somebody else's podcast. I loved her advent calendar for this last year. Absolutely gorgeous. I like her color aesthetic. So I went to her YouTube page and started watching her podcasts. Caught some from the beginning, and then I'm kind of going in from both ends. I started from the beginning, and then I caught the most recent one also, so I'm kind of playing catch up. She looks so young, but she's not. She is very professional, very talented, thoroughly enjoying it. And one of the things that I really admire about her is her generosity in sharing her experiences with others. She's done several tutorials. She puts out free PDFs, and that's where I got this project bag pattern from. About 3 years ago, she put it up as a Christmas gift to everybody out in the crafting world. It's a free PDF that you just send a link to her newsletter, and you immediately receive an email back with the PDF to download. And along with it comes a YouTube tutorial. So this is the bag as the pattern is written. So this is the size. You can do it all a single fabric or double 2 fabrics. And you can do, this is the short one, and this is the long one, or this is the long one and this is the short one. She shows you in her tutorial multiple ways to do it. And it includes putting in the zipper, putting in the tag for this. She left hers free. A lot of people do D-rings. I used a binder clip because that's what I had. And it's a lot easier to open and close. If you want to add stitch markers on there, that's what I use to hold my stitch markers. And unless they're the progress keeper type that you can clip over a D-ring, that's the only style of stitch markers that can fit on there, whereas this one you can fit any stitch markers, and they're a great place to have them handy. Zipper, lining, I just used a muslin, but she showed how to use a coordinating fabric. Again, doesn't matter. This does not have a pocket, but that's okay. It's a small bag, sock size, maybe 2 skeins. I'd be pushing it. I think it's perfect for a sock bag. And I had so much fun with the one. I had to make 2. So I made this one for me. This is what I have my sock in. And this one is still for grabs. And then I was like, well, let's make it bigger, because bigger's better, right? Absolutely. Boom. This is really big. So all I had to do was upsize the pattern. The process for making it is the same, for putting it together. So I love this green tree fabric, and I just used some other Christmas fabrics that I had and pieced a little strip together. And this is actually upholstery fabric. So it's a heavier, it's not waterproof, I don't think, but it's a heavier fabric that I think will hold up on the bottom. Sweater bag. And again, the ring and tab and ring. And on this one, I did zipper tabs. I found a tutorial for zipper tabs. The Hue Loco pattern does not. It just kind of sews them right in, which is perfectly fine. Again, I used a muslin for the interior, and there is no pockets. So I'm keeping this for myself. One, because I love this fabric. Two, because it's huge, and I don't know if anybody else would want it because it's so big. And there's no pockets. After making this, I found a pattern that had pockets, and so I used that to make my next one. This, I decided the green bag was a little too big, so I went down a little in sizing. It still has the boxed bottom. I need to press that out. This is actually outdoor fabric, so this will stand up to a little moisture and dirt, and all you have to do is wipe it off with a damp cloth. So this is like great to throw on the ground. Tab, zipper, and I did use the zipper tab instructions again. And I put pockets in this one. So there's pockets on both sides. One has 3 and one has 2. You just stitch down to make the different pocket sizes. And had a lot of fun making this. It's not hard at all to add in the pockets. That was some of the easiest functions. So had a lot of fun. Made one wasn't enough. When you're cutting it out, you might as well make 2. So I made 2 of these. They both have pockets. And then I ran out of zippers. Yes, I did go to Joann's, and they needed to restock significantly. I even opened up the drawers underneath where they had the zippers looking for what I needed, and they were out. Like, they had white or black. They were out of all the colors in almost all the sizes, because I was even looking for longer zippers because they're fairly easy to trim down. But yeah, it was white or black, and that's pretty stark against some of the fabrics that I wanted to use. So I lost it. Hold on. There we go. Okay, sorry, you just got my nose in your face. So then I found another pattern. There are actually quite a few free project bag patterns out there, tutorials, zipper bags, knot bags, etc. I think Nicole of Hue Loco has one of the clearest tutorials out there and one of the most straightforward patterns. Not everybody writes instructions as clearly, so grain of salt, everybody. Like I said, I ran out of zippers, so looked for non-zippered bags. Ta-da! And this is, again, done with the Christmas fabric, and this is just a twill tape. One handle is supposed to be longer than the other because then you just put the longer handle through the shorter one, and that's how it stays closed, and you hold it and you put it over your arm and knit while you're going along or whatever. There is a pocket in this one. Again, I just did, this actually isn't muslin, it's a little heavier, but it's just an off-white fabric. Put in a pocket, And then I use these pocket instructions with the other bags. That's where I got those pocket instructions from. And I love this. It's just simple, straightforward, still on the kick, and out of zippers. Made another one. So I made this one. I did the handles a little shorter this time because I wanted it to just make sure that it stayed closed snugly when it was there. Because it doesn't have a zipper, it is open a little. But I think this is perfectly fine. Unless you have a cat that likes to dig in your project bags for yarn, you'll be fine. So I use this, there we go, beautiful button fabric. I love it. Look at those fancy buttons. So there's a gray in it, and I had a gray knit stitch fabric. Yay! This, I didn't feel like this would work as the exterior fabric by itself because it is pretty, it's a small print and it's pretty simple, I guess. I don't know. I thought this would be more interesting for the exterior. So the knit stitch fabric on the inside and a pocket, a double pocket with the button fabric. And again, it's just simple, straightforward, loving it. And this would probably shawl, large shawl, easily 4 skeins. Probably not a sweater. No, unless you're like a very small person. Love this. Awesome. So I am going to use this one because it's not a holiday fabric. So I figured, you know, hey, let's give one as a gift that's not a holiday fabric. So I think I'll give this one and one of the blue bags with the candle fabric on it away as a gift in our holiday gift swap with our knit group. We don't have our holiday party until the January 26th. Most of the people feel like they're too busy during January leading up to the holidays to add one more thing they need to do. So we usually hold it in January, and that's fine with me. I wouldn't mind it in January, but I don't mind, or in December, but I don't mind it later. I think it just extends the holiday spirit, and you know, we get to enjoy the gift giving a little longer. So we have a gift swap, you know, where you draw a number and then everybody picks a present in order. You can still it twice. Not a white elephant. So this is, you know, like something that we think the others will like. So I'm going with project bags. And I hope people like them. I did add some nice finishing details to them. One, Nicole, again, her tutorial is awesome. She does go over like some of the great finishing details that make it look nice and professional. The top stitching, as you can see, I top stitched around here, around the whole opening. The, you know, finished seaming, the interfacing, the pockets. You can't see my pocket. The boxed bottom, pressing it, you know, so it's nice. The right weight of interfacing so it stands upright on its own. You know, so I think I have done some nice details. I have not made project bags before, but I have sewn. You know, I'm not a new sewer. So hopefully they will be appreciated and enjoyed. that is what I have been spending my time doing. I have really enjoyed being on this little sewing jag kick because I'm having finished projects that I see completed. I get a sense of accomplishment. Um, and I'm enjoying myself. So I was like, let's do another little project. I found a pattern. Most quilt shops have them. I found a pattern while I was on holiday at my mom's quilt shop she goes to in Phoenix. Well, it's in Mesa. And found a pattern for this. It's a thread catcher. So this is a pin cushion and it's heavy because you want to be able to hold the stuff that you put in the pockets and without it pulling off the table. So this is going to sit on the edge of my sewing machine table. This has cardboard in the bottom so the pins don't poke through. And then it's got I put 3 washers in there to add the weight. And then walnut shells, crushed walnut shells inside of another muslin bag just so they didn't spill out or make a mess or whatever if the seam tore. And boom, pin cushion. Of course. Use 2 fat quarters, and I chose batiks because I love them. So then you have the hanging down thing. You just put little things in to make pockets, and I've got a pencil, seam ripper, and scissors, most handy items. And then you have your thread catcher, and this just has plastic boning around it to hold it open, which I love because I did have something similar to this previously, and it was always closed because it didn't have anything like that in it. And then you have a little pocket on the side. See, it is not attached. And I have my cork on it because it's very pointy. And like I use this to push edges of seams through. It's difficult to explain, but comes in very handy. And then I also have my little pinchers, which again I use to grab thread or seam edges, whatever. And I love this. I love these batiks. I love these colors in my craft room. And so this is going right on the edge of my sewing table. I might have to stitch tighter down on the pocket that holds the scissors so they don't come out, or switch it up to a different one. I love it. I don't need more than one, but I'm thinking of making more. Again, I'm just on this. I'm enjoying sewing things right now and having the finished object completed there. And so who knows? Over the holidays, I also helped my mom make a quilt for my sister. She had purchased the fabric and the pattern and said, "Make me this." So we did. And we finished it and pieced the back also with the leftover fabrics that we had and took it off to the quilters already. So in about a week, we finished it's larger than a throw size quilt. It was supposed to be a throw size and it actually ended up being about 56 by 78, maybe. So a little bit longer. And had a blast. And I will try and include a photo of it here. So hopefully my sister likes it because it's not exactly like the sample they had in the quilt shop where she bought the pattern, but we didn't have the photo of that to work from. So we just made it the way we thought it would work. Sorry, Jay. I hope you love it anyway. We I really enjoyed putting it together for you, and I think it's still beautiful. So please like it. When I was pulling fabrics to make the project bags and the thread catcher, I was literally having fabric fall on my head because I would pull stuff out of my shelving that I had my fabrics on, and they were stacked in there so tight and had gotten so disorganized because I just kept throwing things in and not putting them back correctly that I literally had fabric falling on my head or on my feet or on the floor. And so what I did was what I had been wanting to do for years. And I had started at one point, I think I had maybe 5 yards of fabric wrapped up this way. So what I'm doing is taking backer boards for comic books because they are acid free. I don't intend my fabrics to sit here for decades, but some of them have sat here for over 10 years. So who knows? I just want to try and protect them as much as possible. So walked into my local comic store, asked for backer boards, acid free, and these are actually the ones that fit magazine covers, magazine pocket slides, whatever. So they're 8.5 by 11. And what I've done is I fold my fabric the way I would cut it. So basically, and I'm trying to organize everything at once. So all I have to do is pull this off the shelf and cut. So I'm ironing as I go if it needs it. And then I'm aligning selvages together. Well, that's a little off, but selvages together parallel and ensuring the fold is on the grain, goes with the grain. You can tell, if you've worked with fabric before, you can tell by the way it hangs if it's aligned properly or not. So you just adjust it left or right until it's hanging smoothly, fold it, and then I fold it in half one more time. So there's my selvage edges. This is parallel. Pull this up parallel to my selvage edges. Make sure my fold again is hanging smoothly. And then I have that, and I just start at one side, put it on, wrap it around and around my board, get to the end, put a pin in it, boom, ready to go in my fabric stash. And this way, because when I cut fabric, this is actually how I will cut it. I'll cut it, fold it up twice, so it's 4 layers. And it's already aligned with the grain, so there's nothing I have to do except for even out the edge and cut the widths of fabric I need. Ready to go. So acid-free backer board in the appropriate size that fits my folded fabric and will fit into my shelving units. And I'm about halfway through. Let's see if I can show you some without making you dizzy. Ooh. So, look, they're not going to fall on my head anymore. I have my blues up at the top. I have a lot of blues, which I already knew. Little bit of purple going into reds. And then I have a little bit of extra room here. What I originally planned was red going through oranges to yellow and then into my browns, but there's not enough room, so I have to decide. Do I want to go orange to yellow, or do I want my oranges with my browns? Decisions. I did greens right here, and batiks right there. And yes, I'm a nerd. I did my batiks in Roy G. Biv order. So I have yardages wrapped on the boards, And then I have 2.5-inch strips in a stack right there. And what I have right here is backing fabric lengths. So it's probably 6 yards, 6 or 8 yards of fabric. Here is my reproduction prints. So it's like Civil War era, 1800s. These are just reproduction prints, etc., whatever, shirtings. And then all of these are Joe Morton fabrics. And I'm debated keeping them separate because I'm not in the Joe Morton club anymore. She's not doing a club anymore, but I kept them separate in case she does start it up again. So I don't know. And again, some backing links of fabric and then a little homespun. I don't have much. I don't like it. This, still a mess, needs organized. This, still a mess, needs organized. So we're getting there. But it's pleasing to me to see things organized and fitting in places properly and making things easier for me to find so I can get back to projects. That is not all the fabric I have. I have more, obviously, in these cubbies. I have some hiding in the closet there. I have some more like Rubbermaid bins with unfinished projects. These in boxes are unfinished projects, and I want to pull them down and do just like a finish your frog decision. Am I going to finish this? If so, okay, here's what I need. Have everything ready so I can sew on it and keep it where it's easily accessible so I can work on it when I have time. Or if I'm not going to finish it, pull the fabrics out, put them back in my stash. I don't have to finish everything I've started. I might not be in love with it anymore. That's totally fine. Want to get into off topic? I've been talking off topic a little bit for a while. I have needed some downtime after returning from the holidays. I spent it in Phoenix with my sister and brother-in-law and my parents. My nieces had a wonderful time. Completely exhausted, although I did kind of build up a little more stamina towards the end. But wow, kids have energy, man. They just Energizer Bunny, go go go. But had a blast and got home, needed some downtime, mostly just tired, not so much depression, and I had to really think about that. Am I recharging because I'm physically exhausted, or am I emotionally exhausted? And what do I need to do to get me back into a better place? And it was a little bit of both, but mostly just physically. And it was January. I don't believe in resolutions, but I do believe in the new year being a good time for reflection, to look back on the past year, look at positives, negatives, what you accomplished, what you had hoped to do and didn't get to, if it was realistic or not, and look forward to the future. You know, I don't believe in resolutions. I feel like it just sets you up for failure because 99.9% of us break New Year's resolutions. Why put yourself through that? And also, you can decide to do anything any day of the week. You know, you can wake up any morning and say, this is my new goal. Anytime. I do believe in begin as you mean to continue, and January is a great time for that. And it's not really begin, it's kind of restart as you mean to continue. And along the vein of that, you know, part of that is organizing my fabrics, you know, my stash, and getting not just that, but then moving on from there and getting my craft room more better, better organized. I've gone through our guest room. It had been the pile everything we don't need on the bed until somebody comes to visit and then clean it all up. So cleaned up everything we had on the bed, made sure there was a place for it, went through the closet, which had basically been my overflow slash shoe storage. Went through that and got rid of a lot of stuff. Donated some of it. We have a box to go to Salvation Army, and threw a bunch away. I threw away 6 pairs of shoes, people, and gave away 4 more pairs. That's a lot. That's big for me because I love my shoes and purses. But, okay, organized, clean things up, gotta start there. Intend to go through my own closet, but that's on the schedule for later. One section at a time. And as long as I do a little bit at a time, that is a success. Again, trying not to set myself up for failure. I'm not putting deadlines on things. I'm just saying, begin a routine, stick with it, continue, a little bit at a time. And that way also, too, it doesn't push me too far and leaves room for self-care still, And some of that organizing is self-care for me. It makes me happy to see things in order. Not just seeing things in order, but let's face it, folks, I'm a nerd. I had a blast wrapping fabric around backer boards. Who else, who else would get a kick out of that? I'm just going to follow that mantra of begin as you mean to continue. So I think that's all I have for you today. It's been a lot of sewing and off topic today, not a lot of knitting. I apologize, but it is a new year, and hopefully next time there will be more knitting for you to see. Enjoy. You can find me as Danny Girl Co. on Instagram and Ravelry, and show notes can be found at www.myhighplainslife.blogspot.com. Thanks. Bye.